Welcome to the social blog on gender identities for our Systemic Diversity and Inclusion group. Today, we set out on a meaningful adventure to investigate the fascinating range of gender identities. Gender is not a binary. There are many different gender identities, and people should be free to express their gender identity without fear of judgment or discrimination. We must challenge gender stereotypes and create more inclusive spaces for all gender identities. We need to educate ourselves about the experiences of gender nonconforming individuals and be allies to them. And we need to speak out against discrimination and violence against gender nonconforming individuals. Working together can create a more inclusive and accepting world for everyone. We want to establish a welcoming environment where everyone's gender identity is acknowledged and embraced as acceptance, understanding, and empathy proponents. Let's be receptive to the distinctive experiences of people who identify in ways beyond the conventional limitations of genders. Dissecting the binary. In the past, society has firmly classified people as either male or female depending on the sex they were assigned at birth. But we must acknowledge that gender is much more nuanced than a simple binary. People identifying as non-binary, genderqueer, gender fluid, agender, and other categories exist. Every identity has value and should be respected and reflected accordingly. Pronouns and language are important. As a starter, we need to embrace the use of appropriate language and pronouns to identify people. We must identify and support people by addressing them according to their very gender identities one chooses in the foundational basic ways possible. Whether done knowingly or accidentally, misgendering can be upsetting and invalidating. Let's prioritize asking for and using people's chosen pronouns as an easy but effective allyship gesture. The difficulties of gender nonconforming people. The expectations and standards of society place special challenges on many genders and nonconforming people. This includes sexism in the workplace, a lack of inclusive healthcare, and barriers to using gender-affirming services. We must band together as a community to support laws and procedures that defend and help these people. Gender identity and intersectionality. Understanding intersectionality is crucial to comprehending gender identity. We can make the world more welcoming if we recognize the connections between gender and other identification factors, including race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, disability, etc. Our dedication to inclusiveness must consider every person's various life experiences, amplifying the voices of the underprivileged. Gender dysphoria and transgender people. People who identify as transgender have a different gender from the sex they were given at birth. The anguish brought on by the discrepancy between a transgender person's gender identity and their outward appearance is known as gender dysphoria, a frequent experience. Let's work to create a society that accepts and supports our transgender family members. Increasing diversity in educational settings. Institutions of higher learning are essential in fostering inclusion. We can build safer and more accepting environments for all students, regardless of gender identification, by enacting gender-inclusive policies, incorporating various perspectives into curricula, and developing support networks. Strong families, a foundation of support. In the lives of those who are experimenting with their gender identity, family acceptance is crucial. Unfortunately, some people experience rejection and prejudice at home. We may create the foundation for a more adoring and encouraging home atmosphere by teaching families about gender differences and encouraging empathy. Conclusion. Let's appreciate the variety and richness of each person's gender journey as we wrap up our discussion on gender identities. We can build a society where everyone's gender identity is respected and honored by questioning established standards, fighting for inclusive laws, and exhibiting empathy and respect. Let's come together in support of systemic inclusion and diversity.